Is this the one? Right here, right?
Chrome. And, but don't do it yet. You have to wait.
Yeah, when you're ready, just click go live and it's on, Jack.
Yeah. Right.
I have your instrumental, but somebody deleted it from the list, so I just have.
Oh, we had our intro.
No, we don't have an intro. That's.
Norm shot an intro.
Nate's
Yeah, but
music.
it's here. Oh, you got it already?
I thought we put it up. Nate's
Oh,
music.
yeah, I wasn't here. Remember, I wasn't here.
Because Nate was like,
All
oh,
right, put that down. Close that. Minimize it. And go to the first one. Let me see which one it is. You gotta play it.
That one.
I don't know. Just go to the first one because we're not live. Nope. Go to the second.
Let's talk about it.
Yes, right here.
No, go next. Oh, here it go. Right here. Nate, the last one. Now hit
Yeah, we already up on YouTube.
All right.
we might as well just go ahead with
We
it.
might
And
as well
bounce.
go
All right,
ahead and
y'all
do
ready?
it,
Because I'm
bro.
about to go
Do it.
live.
Let's do
Y'all
it.
ready?
Let's get it.
All we live says connect. Let us know when we preview. All right. Ready? One, two.
You know what?
Yeah, we
we
live.
live
We-
now.
Did you go? Okay.
Yeah,
Did you go live
we
to
all the
W?
way live.
To the what?
The W is already live too.
Yeah. Are we right there? We here now.
Yeah, we here now. We here.
here
It's the
now.
last show of the decade, y'all.
All right, let's give a round of applause for last show of the decade. All right, we start off. Look, it wouldn't be us if we didn't start off right. Right? I'm
Yeah.
Black Ops.
Hey, this is Wonder.
And it's the 6-man Dean Geronimo. Give us a call. Let's talk about it. 646-233-1302.
Well, I guess we're back, right? But listen, as always, we welcome all of our viewing audience, whether it be through the internet, Facebook, Instagram Live, you name it. We appreciate you. We had a pretty good year here on the show for 2019, and we welcome everybody. You hear that music? You hear that?
Yeah.
We gonna wave at them. I ain't wave at
at 'em.
them. Wave at 'em. Listen, anyway, it's good to be back. Wonder how goes it, man?
I'm good, man. I threw my back out.
What?
Oh.
Wait, what was you doing?
Oh, wait a minute, bro.
I was doing laundry, man. I just threw my back
Spin
out.
cycle.
Cleaning some stuff up. I see.
Right.
I don't know how, but and now it's all stiff, and I was trying to get out the car, across the street, and had to take baby steps to get here.
You know what
Old,
some
man.
people call that? Old age,
Old,
man.
baby.
Listen,
Old.
it is a privilege denied to
right.
many, man. So,
That's right.
listen,
Yeah.
for Christmas, I got one of them, the power massager things. You know what I'm talking about?
that. I
Listen,
need
that thing is the
He posted that on the
truth,
joint.
man. Yes, yes. I'm in love with that. Like, I'm like walking downstairs, like, where my massager?
Let me get that,
Yo,
right? Let me have that now.
No. But listen, it's good to see you, one. I've known you a
Good
long
to see you, brother.
long
Yes,
time,
sir.
man. I see the wisdom in the beard.
Yeah, I had
and
to let it come out.
Yeah, there's nothing
Let
wrong
the-
with that,
let
man.
silver come out.
How was it when you first started? Like when I grow my beard out, man, half the time is spent with a little comb saying, man, I should cut
You know
this thing off.
What was crazy about it is, sometimes when I would let a few days go by, I knew that I had gray hairs.
Right.
Because mind you, I haven't shaved my face. I mean, I've shaven my face for 9 years. So like 2-3 days go by, I knew I had gray, but when I finally let it all come out, I didn't realize like all it is. You know what I'm saying? Like it was,
But it looks good.
I just said,
It does.
I just said, hey man, and the barber said, you want me to put a little dye in there? I was like, let it show.
Right.
I'm 51 years old.
Exactly.
Right. You know what I think about when I think about you and I in high school, and I think about the different phases of life that we've gone through, the many things we've done together in the community, the things we've done in the streets. And, to be here at this moment, man, to even have the
It's a
discussion
blessing.
about
blessing.
graying the beard is a thing here. My head, I keep it shaved. But I guarantee you, if I grew out my Grady from Sanford and Son, it would show for real. But like I said, man, you'll always be my man at 50
Yes,
grand.
sir. Likewise, brother. Appreciate
Always
it.
good. All right, Dean Geronimo.
What's up with you?
What's going on with the
Ain't
Black
nothing, man.
Brilliance? That's a nice hoodie.
Blackbrilliance.net if you want to get one. Support
I see you got
HBCUs.
one.
That's what we do.
Let me
Also,
see the
shout
front.
out to Chance to St. Louis for checking in.
Let me see the front of your shirt real
Oh,
quick.
the front of it says Black Brilliance. Bro.
Nice.
That's a beautiful
That's
hoodie,
dope.
right?
That's dope.
I don't know. Listen.
Shout out to
listen.
Charles Coleman.
All right.
What up, yo?
Big up to the members of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity
Exactly.
Incorporated. Right. So I say that to say, I believe you are my line brother, right?
Yeah, that's
Was yours is mine and mine is yours, right?
unless it was gifted to you.
Gifted. Is that you gotta air quote that. You got air quote. You gotta air quote that. You gotta go with that.
Yo, it was gifted to me, bro. It was somebody sent it to me.
Right.
That's
And-
why I got the orange and blue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Be
Right.
true to the orange and blue. Shout out to Virginia State University.
Big up to HBCUs. Let's just do it
Exactly.
that way. But no, listen. Had you been the Deuce and I've been the Ace, I would have been the older brother. But you got me by a minute some change, right? So you actually ended the fold to me. So I can't actually be like, yo, bruh, let me get that. You know?
Yo,
how
we had
that
to get
go.
we had to get you one.
All right, I'll
we had to
take
get
that.
you. We had to get you.
Right, and let's show the viewing audience the Gamma Nu chapter, the Mega Psi Phi
Oh,
Fraternity
you
Joint
know
Base.
what?
Can they see it? No.
I don't know if they can
Yeah.
see it. It's a little shout out to the Bridge Builder Qs.
That's what's
Gamma
up.
Nu, Joint
Can we
Base
get- can we
McGuire,
get a
Dix
round for
Lakehurst,
them?
New Jersey.
Thank you,
Exactly.
super producer. But now, what's going on, LB? How we
You know
doing?
what? Still hanging on like an old loose tooth.
I hear you, man.
Get ready to go into a new decade.
Right.
And there's some things that we need to leave behind. Raggedy people, people that don't want to do right, people that want to tell them lies and always want to get over.
Right.
It's time to leave them right here in 2019. It's an easy way to do it. Start calling out the BS. You know what I mean? So,
Yo, as this decade comes to a close, I think back to the very beginning of it, and I'm like, damn, that was like life passes you by so fast. I remember, and I'm just like, man, here we are getting ready to go into 2020. Think about that.
yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. It even sounds crazy just saying it. 2020.
Right, it does, and I always look at where I'm at right now, where I'm, I would like to find myself, 10 years from now. And 10 years from now, I'm like 7 to 8 years away from Social Security.
Hey, bro.
Like that was fast.
It happened. Life, they say life goes fast, and when you're having fun, it goes even faster.
Yeah, man.
So days turn into nights, nights turn into weeks, months, years, and here we are.
Here we are.
Looking at. I never thought that I would have. Talk about great beards. I mean, shit, I used to laugh at my mother, God rest her soul, for having gray hair. And she used to say, boy,
I got gray hairs in places I don't want to have gray hair.
she said, you better hope you live long enough to get gray hair. But now I got it. So, it doesn't grow at the top anymore. That's a half moon. I can't rock the George Jefferson. So
Yo, I got to watch
we
your
keep
beard
it
go from black to
to
gray.
gray.
I got to watch that. I got to watch that.
Yep.
Because you were the whippersnapper on the
Yeah,
line. I got to watch that. And then your emoji from that you had your man do, man. I love that emoji.
Shout out to Andre
Yeah.
Burke, man. It's he did the logo for Dean Geronimo. I appreciate you, Q.
That was good. So I got gray hair on my arms, all that. Yeah. But listen, no. So I know I missed the segment of my music, but we'll jump into the show a
Right
little
now,
bit.
she got the Ninth Wonder rock and Zion 4. Y'all go get that.
But here's my thing I want to talk about, and it's not I guess it is a let's keep it real moment. What's going on in the public with these kidnappings
Right.
and these young ladies. And I always tell young ladies, be careful who you show your teeth. Like, it's a street rule. Never show your teeth to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sign of weakness. And you have to realize that people really are getting kidnapped out there. And you really have to defend yourself.
Right.
Like, for all the young ladies out there, even older women, find a dojo, find a seminar, find something that's going to teach you enough skills not necessarily to, beat your attacker up and you stand over him and admire your work. That's the wrong thing to do. But enough to where you can deliver that shot to the eye, throat, or nuts. Let's just keep it real. That's going to give you that 5 or 10 seconds to get out of there.
True.
You know what I mean? And that's something that we have to push. And when you look in the news and you look at those faces, all those faces are our faces.
Yeah.
That's who they're targeting. Even when we talked about the Oregon thing before in the past, like all of that, learn how, listen, I always say this, when it's time to be violent, be extremely violent, especially when your life is on the line. Like somebody comes up to you that you don't know, mean mug them. Like you don't know them. I don't know you. There's nothing to talk about.
I don't know you.
I don't want to know you.
We ain't friends. Man.
Right.
Keep it moving.
And you take a step to the left, they take a step to the left, that should be a warning. Turn and run. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Like, especially in today's world, man, especially given the climate of the country and given circles, you never know what's going to knock on your door, and you better be ready to face that. I'd rather die fighting than die just standing there. That's me, just keeping it real. So that's my moment, if you will. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff we're going to jump into. But, again, for all the young ladies out there, older ladies, middle-aged, I don't know, just however you want to term yourself, take a class, take a seminar, take your girl. Find it. Go online. I'm trying to, right here in Plainfield, NJ Self-Defense. I know he does a lot. And, Jason Hunter, he's a bad boy. And I know he will offer up a lot to the community in that way. So, I don't know, it's just something that was on my mind.
No, it's definitely a concern. And as a matter of fact, I think we touched on it as well the last show we had. But it's something, as long as it's going on, it needs to be discussed. Because, we've noticed over the years that, due to statistics that have been shown in, media outlet that people, especially within our community, it's spiked. So, shout out to Black Ops. He's a ventriloquist. Y'all didn't know that.
You can do two things at once.
Yeah.
Two things at one time.
But no, it's noteworthy to always bring that up as long as it's happening. I mean, we're reading articles about people, the FBI. I think we talked about the FBI broke open a case of father and son business where they had organs. And they were selling organs that were contaminated, that people who were diseased, and as surreal as it sounds, it's what one thing about the wealthy is their lives are very surreal when you look at their demands, things that they want, things that they desire, and when people are wealthy, they want to live long. And no telling to what length, money is no object. And it's very easy for people in our community. We have many challenges in our community where people do not belong to a family structure. People are homeless or whatever. It's easy for a person like that to just disappear off the scene.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, I was just listening to the Star Report, Star from Star and Buck Wild. He's still on YouTube. He's got a YouTube channel. And there's a brother who called in. I forget where he was from. And this brother who called in had he has a relative. I think it's like his nephew, his uncle or somebody who runs a morgue. And he said, they gut you out. They gut you out. And this is why, I hate to go towards a conspiracy thing, but people need to really think long and hard before you check off on the back of your license whether or not you want to be an organ donor.
A donor, right.
Because if you ain't dying fast enough, I'm just thinking if connecting the dots, that just, hey, he's an organ donor. He died. Let's grab his heart or his brain or whatever. And so I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm just saying you need to think long and hard about these things. So, listen, President Washington, the first president of the United States, the teeth that was in his head, because his fell out, he used the teeth of his slaves.
Sure
now, do you
did.
think that was the last time that happened after he died, or he's the only one that did that? So all I'm saying is just, keep your third eye open. That's all I'm saying.
And also shout out to Divas in Defense, Cole Parker down there in Georgia, teaching women to
gouge eyes out.
there it is.
There you
know
go.
what I mean? It's definitely needed in this day and age because there are a number of us that are missing, and it's not common knowledge. So we have to do something to, ladies, protect yourselves, and brothers, protect our sisters, because not saying that they can't do it, but another hand won't hurt.
That's right.
Listen, there are many styles out there, and I'll start with one that I'm partial to, which is Israeli Krav Maga, which is a savage martial art. Savage. Then you have Dr. Moses Powell and Sanukas. Sanukas is savage. Sanukas will give you all that you want and some. And again, if there's an opportunity for a seminar to be had, I've given female self-defense seminars. I just think it's something that's needed at this day and age in the community. No one's asking anyone to go out and get a black belt. That takes years, right. A decade minimum to even reach that plateau. But it takes you one seminar to learn how to eye gouge or how to strike somebody in the groin hard enough that you create that space where you can go, where you can run.
Right.
Like, that's a must. It's a must. Like my daughters, I have my daughter, my youngest one, Tizana, she's been taking cardio kickboxing, and so I said, well, show me your cardio kickbox. Let me see what you're gonna do. And so I put my hands around the neck and I said, all right, the static hands out. I was like, defend yourself. Right. No. She like moved her arm over and I was like, well, what is that? How's that going to stop a 200-pound man angry coming at your throat trying to push you against the wall, right? So I said, listen, let me show you. And then I showed you the eye gouge, how you use a person's body as a lever and you run your strong side hand literally through their eye, pulling the opposite arm in the opposite direction, and then run. Like the lights went off. And I told her,
can't see.
Right, I was like, when you get done with your kickboxing, and it's cute, her cardio kickboxing, she showed me I was proud of her. Can we get a shout out for her cardio kickboxing? I wanted to feel some way. She's like, Dad, you didn't like my cardio kickboxing?
She's going to get you later, Jack.
Right, no, like she's getting in shape and all that. But really, you should know how to defend yourself. So I'm going to pull her in the dojo with me after a while. I told her as soon as she's up with this contract that she's coming to train with Dad, and we're going to get her some of that, some good stuff. So, like you said, one of the people out here grabbing organs. So, let alone just people in general. So, but anyway, anything else?
No, man, that's it. That's it for me. I just wanted to weigh in on what you were talking about because it's serious out there, man.
Yeah, it's very serious. Yeah. What you got, Dean Geronimo?
You know what? I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to find something.
Right. Well,
find something for to go in. I already started on the.
No, there's
different ways and trains of thought. So,
Right. Here's mine, and I want to talk about the impeachment a little bit. I don't know if you guys on the last show, but I did want to jump in. I don't want to say I'm some scholar or anything like that. I teach every now and then, maybe at university at some point.
So you're a philosopher?
Yes. Got my shirt on, dangerous, educated guy. But listen, history and Congress, how do we look back on this? What do we say? High crimes and misdemeanors. And I always tell people I'm a no-kidding independent. So before I have some right-wing, person or some far-left person come in, I'm playing my position right here. But I'm looking at it from a historical context. And, everyone says, let's look for the smoking gun. And I think, well, there's no think. I know they have it. Like, if I was a congressman, even if it's an independent, I would have voted for, those articles, the two that went up. But it's interesting where Pelosi sits now and her position and how she's playing this. Over history, because when you think about the other presidents who got impeached, most recently Bill Clinton, you want to make sure that the playing board, the chessboard, is evenly spread. And so that when history writes its notes on this particular impeachment, that it speaks to the process and the fairness of the proceedings versus the parties is my only argument. So, but I do think he's culpable for the two. He like, you can't deny that. And the more these emails from this server become disclosed to the public, you see more and more the interworkings of the effort not for the information to come forth to the American public. And I think everything should be disclosed, even when you go from the House to the Senate. So I think that's a major part. I do. And so when you look back, meaning history, you look back, you'll say everything was disclosed because they did it in the very first impeachment. Then they did it with Bill Clinton, where both parties collectively said these are the rules. So I hope that's the case, because when you have the main body or the representative of the body and the Senate going to the White House, it offers up, the argument of, hey, you're supposed to be fair and impartial. So how can it be fair and impartial if all parties aren't involved and all witnesses call forward? That's, I don't know if anybody else has a take on it, but I just think in American history, when they look back on this, I just think that, especially in the House of Representatives, the vote along party lines will never be understood. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting watching the vote. I think it was 215 votes that they needed. At least the House needed to bring up impeachment.
Right.
And there was one particular Republican who voted that he should be impeached. And I think there were 2 Democrats that voted that he should not be impeached.
And they switched parties.
Oh, did they? They switched
Yeah.
parties.
Switched parties, yeah.
But I mean, the super nuts of this whole thing, this entire thing, to me, is he is the face of the sentiments of the dominant society in America. He truly is, because he has a group of supporters like no other.
His base.
His base is, they are ride or die. You know what? I admire them for that. He's as wrong as the day is long, but they could care less. And I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know if this will blemish him as the Democrats are hoping it will when he runs. I think that they've put more furor in his base to really go hard for him.
He's not worried about blemish.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
He's
he never
not worried
was.
about that. And quite frankly, I'm not impressed with who's running for the Democrats at all. And so, with that being said, can we put them? Can we put? Go ahead. It's fine. Let's find out what's going on.
313 or 315. You're on. Let's talk about it. State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Mike calling from upstate New York. How y'all doing?
Good. What's up, Mike?
Well, I hear you talking about this impeachment, so I wanted to throw a couple thoughts out there to see if I could get some gears grinded on it. But I'm not saying that I want this to happen, but right now there's a legal framework that would allow Donald Trump 12 years in office total.
Okay.
And right now with this impeachment, it gives him the golden ticket to do it. Because if we go through this whole process and it's just song and dance the whole time, they'll hand him the presidency for the next election, but he can turn to Congress and ask them to nullify his first 4 years in office because he faced an unconstitutional impeachment, which means he'd have a fresh start in 8 years and a cult following of people that would never question him. And it's a genuine thing to consider that at that point, that's when he would start having arrests made on the Epstein case.
All right.
Because he could use the Epstein case as precedence to charge people of the opposing political party for treason and sex trafficking and all the things that he was accused of over the years. If he doesn't get indicted, then we're in trouble.
Right. So hopefully the Democrats hold the House because he would need the votes in order for that to happen. If that scenario unfolded, we know that the House turns over faster than the Senate. But in saying that, going forward, we know in the Senate he's going to be acquitted. And I'm hoping in this next election, and again, I want to be very clear, I'm a no kidding registered independent. So I vote my conscience, whether it's Republican or Democrat. I want to be crystal clear because a lot of times folks tend to see skin color and assume a given party.
Right.
That is not the case.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
So I want to be sure that I clarify that here. 24 and a half year military guy here, military retired officer, former associate professor at a major state university here in New Jersey. So I just want to offer up my background real quick. So as I give my remarks, again, I think the 2 articles that went up were the right articles. I hope as it moves over to the Senate and they work out the impasses, and that's the word that they've been using, that's not my word, the impasses, that the trial or the proceedings are fair and equitable. Whether he's acquitted or not is not my argument, but you want all your cards on the table. Go ahead.
I think it's you prefaced with some of your background. I'm a 12th Bravo combat engineer. I
Nice.
spent time in the Army, so
Nice.
I'm absolutely right with you on that, on the veteran scale.
Gotcha. Thank you for your service.
Doing grunge work ever since I got out of high school. Just the labor stuff,
Gotcha.
hard labor. Like, I enjoy it.
Gotcha.
But when it comes to this impeachment, I think the specific grounds of impeachment that they brought up are the weakest set of impeachment arguments that they could bring up. Because right now, the Republicans can play the defense that the only thing they have to do is change the name Donald Trump with Joe Biden and his son. And they can play the entire court trial as saying, well, what about him? What about him?
Yeah.
Well, what about him? And that makes, I mean, if we're talking about, like, he's broken the emolument clause where Ivanka Trump has used the Trump administration with Donald Trump to make millions upon millions of dollars, using the White House to get tax breaks for all the elites, his trademarks that he was given in China after he became president, Jared Kushner and his different connections. I mean, like, there are so many things that they could get him on.
Right.
The Ukraine argument is just going to hand him the victory in the presidency. And I actually think that's on purpose, because I think all of these politicians are puppets. Doesn't matter if they're red team versus blue team.
Right.
I think the oligarchies, the companies that control them, and the different lobbying groups that are behind Congress and Senate,
Right.
it's people outside of the United States that control this shit.
Right.
Yep.
Go ahead.
And he is the number one person that China and Russia and Israel all want as president. As long as he's
Absolutely.
president, there is no way a global coalition can form against China and Russia.
Right. Zero argument
There's
there.
no way.
Zero argument. All right.
Different wings, same bird, man.
Right.
And it has been said, you know, if you don't vote or the integrity of the voting system is in question, you don't count. So it's important that, you know, you let your voices be heard. Don't be, you know, some people will sit on the sideline and say, yeah, what is it going to do? But look at what's happening now.
All right, let me merge this call. I'm going to merge a call in with
ahead.
us too. Oh, I think he hung up. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, so, you know, we have to be vigilant and pay attention to everything that's going on. Don't vote the line. That is a waste of time. People have been conditioned to, you know, vote the line, and in turn, some people are put in positions that should never have been there in the first place. So, I mean, I'm an independent voter as well. So, you know, I'm voting what I feel is right for myself, my family, and those who I hold dear, not to just elevate someone into a position. Look at what happened for all of those who they claim are middle class, and we all ended up owing money during tax time, and it's probably going to get worse as the years go by unless they change it back.
Listen, I have a good friend, State Representative Joe Holworth, who's a Republican, and I tell you what, I'll vote for him 10 out of 10 times. I've never met a more stand-up man in my life. I actually call him Cousin Joe, but a very, very, listen, you want to talk about stands up for his principles, and he definitely has the veterans in mind. I love Joe Horwath. If he called me right now and said, hey, Sean, I need you, I'm coming.
there.
So I just wanted to clarify that. But listen, we do appreciate you calling in and great commentary.
Thanks for calling in,
Good
man.
points. Hey, happy holidays
if
to
I-
you, Mike.
Happy holidays.
If I may just add this, because I know you both said how you voted or whatever, but I figured I'd say it anyways, is I abstain my vote right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I don't think a lesser of two evils
That's
is
right.
a
Absolutely.
good choice. I
It's
think
still evil.
people,
right.
if we as a people decided to get together and decide that we're done playing this system, that we want to do it better and we want different candidates and not these schmucks we keep getting,
Right.
that's when we'll get changed. That's when
That's
they'll
right.
notice the power of the vote, when we decide to not continue
right.
to play their game.
Right.
Amen
Good stuff,
and
Mike.
amen.
But that's
All
just
right.
me. But for me, my integrity, my honor is at stake if I were to put a vote down for either one of them. So you can't blame me for any of their shit.
No, we can't blame you at
No,
all.
no,
We
no,
can
yeah.
only blame the Electoral College, which is archaic and needs to be dismantled. But some people swear by it.
True
I don't know
word.
why.
All
Hey,
right, Mike.
you all have a great holiday season. Please
All right.
stay safe.
You too.
You
Take
too.
care.
Too, man.
Bye.
Take care.
Can I speak to that? I'm
Go
in the
ahead.
same train of thought. Dr. Claude Anderson, he was on the Breakfast Club. I've been singing this guy's praises for a good while now. He has a series of books out. One of them is called Powernomics. He served under the Carter administration, and he always talks about, he's one of the ones, he's really, to me, in my mind, he's the one that has been talking about reparations for years, and he has a plan behind it, like a sufficient guide in terms of what it would look like. And he talked about the vote, and he said part of the power of the vote is to abstain. He said if there's nothing in it, if there's nothing that serves your family or anybody, then what are you voting for? What are you voting for? If you voted, for example, if you have the lesser of two evils and then it turns out that the lesser did just as much damage as the other one, then, and there's no shame in that. We say our ancestors died so you could vote. Well, guess what? They died so we could have the right to vote. Not that you must vote every time. And if there's no dog in the fight, and I can only speak for myself.
Right.
If there's no dog in the fight, the way I see it, then I don't see anything wrong with abstaining the vote. I just don't. Now, some may say, well, because of your thinking, that's why he's in. Hillary could have been in. Well, listen, more people voted for Hillary,
Right.
popular wise, right? But because of this electoral, and that's a whole other discussion. But he's still in.
He's still in.
You know what I'm saying?
And dumb enough
Right.
to say, you know what? Yeah, I won, but.
Mm-hmm.
And then he added all the extra stuff.
And to Black Ops' point, and I've been saying this for a long time, you could wear a white hood and have the whole garb on and be a politician. As long as you speak to my needs, that's all I'm concerned with. But see, as black folk, we get wrapped up in emotions when it comes to politicians, and we cast our vote because he came on Arsenio and he wore shades and he played the saxophone. But his second term, he did more damage than probably, arguably, any other president in terms of breaking up families. When he signed that 3 strikes, there are people who are still doing time behind that man.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is we have to be smart. And we do. We have to be bold enough to say, hey, I like what the red side is saying, this particular politician. If my streets are gonna be paved and police are gonna be around here to make sure things are safe, so be it. But it's gotta speak to us. And here, one more thing, and I'll shut up.
No.
When Latinos vote, they expect something for the Latino community. When the Indians vote, when the LBGT vote, when you name it. But for some reason, when we expect something for our community, all of a sudden, it's this ambiguous, well, he's the president for everybody. He can't just be for you. but everybody else, they have no shame in asking for their group, their party, or their concerns.
They go
And-
to the
Listen,
to
the
the
1%
table.
did
They
very
are
well
able to
under
sit at the table.
Listen,
Trump.
I mentioned this before. I was reading a study, and the Asian American community, they have the lowest turnout in voting. Why? I always preach this, because they have super PACs.
Right.
So they just vote for their guy on the local levels. They're not concerned about the other stuff like we're concerned about. They make sure that they back their people up with money so things can get done in their neighborhood. We get moved when someone comes into our church and they're clapping off beat to our gospel songs and they're kissing our little babies. And then once they get the vote, they forget about us. And then
Setting
here we
you
are
up
again.
for the fall.
Yeah, so I'm with my man.
And you
on
know what?
that.
That's
no,
another thing.
Mike has some
Yeah,
good points,
yeah,
and
yeah. I
I'm
love
glad
when
he
he
called
calls
it.
in. Yeah.
Right. And listen, I got Frederick Moss. He said silence is consent, and
No, it's not.
right. And he said vote. I'm just offering up some of the opinions off the
I know,
live.
yeah.
And Jose Luca, I believe that is Hernandez. It says minorities also do too. All presidents lie. Listen, every single politician lies. let's get that. Let's understand that from the door. They want to get in the seats, of course. It's snake oil at times. And I hate to say the term or the old cliche, the lesser of two evils, because presidents, of course, they have to vote the War Act. I understand all that. But ultimately can send us to war. You got to watch who you have in office. You want a sound mind and sound judgment. Listen, here's what I'll give Trump. I won't even say it's a pro. Man, listen, if you were sitting in the White House, any terrorist or threat to the shores of the United States that are eliminated, I applaud. I don't care who's in the White House. I've been there. I've been blown off my feet. Know what it's like to come out a C-130. I've been to third world countries. I know the no kidding hell. I'm not talking because people talk about when they. I've been overseas. No, I'm not talking about you took a 2-hour flight off the Atlantic coast and went to Jamaica, Barbados. I'm talking about no kidding third world. Roll your sleeves up like, hey, this shit is, or this stuff is for real.
You said it right the first time.
Right.
It's real.
It's real. You need to understand that.
Move the wrong way.
Like
Stay there.
there's a serious hate for this country in some circles. I've sat in those rooms. I've been there at those tables for the state on the State Department level, where you're literally looking at someone, if they had an opportunity, would literally run a knife through your throat. So anytime that you can eliminate a terrorist act or threat against this country, I applaud. A strong military is a must. Like they always say, that little thing that comes up on Facebook and Instagram, debate me. And then I'm going to say, you keep your opinion, I'm going to have mine. A strong defense, like anything. I even put it down to a lower level. Everybody knew the dude on the block was the guy you didn't want to mess with because you were going to get lit up, right? It's a deterrent, right? Or if you had that older brother who was that dude, right?
Exactly.
They was going to give you that smoke, as the kid said. Somebody would think about,
could get
you know what, I
all
don't
the
know if I
smoke.
want to mess around with Dean Geronimo. His big brother is a beast, right? And the United States has to stay that beast militarily, period. Because there are a lot of folks who would like to come in here and change the dynamics of the way we live, good, bad, or indifferent. We're all Americans, right?
Right.
We do have our ills and our problems. Don't get me wrong. I don't kid myself at all. I know the struggles of us out there, and I roll my sleeves up and battle for us every day. But on those far shores, you can best believe we have to fight those battles, period.
Mm-hmm.
Debate me.
And we have to also learn to sit at the table to fight for what we want.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Logic has to overrule emotion, because emotion gets you nowhere. Everybody's yelling, nobody's listening. And then you're still at the same place you were when you started. So, when we start to use logic and devise a plan and ask for what we want, it's similar to the 10-point program that the Black Panthers had. we have to have a plan. You can't just walk in there and say, this is wrong. Well, tell us what's wrong with it. Oh, it's just messed up. Well, why is it messed up? And then you get all emotional. You know what? Get out the room because we can't hold a conversation with you.
Oh, I had a real quick, and this is for
Okay.
Jose Luca. I think I'm saying
Okay.
Hernandez. Yeah, he had a question at MOS. I was out the 4th function here, and I was in the 353rd SOG, and I deployed with the 1st of the 1st. Green Berets also deployed with the SEAL teams that we would pick up, and also the 320th STS, the Special Tactics Squadron. I would go out as the advanced echelon in support of those missions. I actually took part in one of the first Tier 1 targets for the United States. So just to give you a little bit about my background, I am a no-kin combat vet, so I want to make sure I make that crystal clear. So, all right, go ahead.
You know what? After that, bro, it's
no.
like, you know what? We'll
Finish
be
your
back
point.
after this commercial break. No, you know, but what I'm saying is we have to get in the new decade now. You can't just get on Facebook and complain. You know, you can't just cry about what's happening and then that's it. You know, you don't want to join any organizations that are fighting for social justice, but you want to ask them what they're going to do for you. How about come on, putting your hands to the plow? Because if you acknowledge injustice, you can sit on Facebook all day and then you want to challenge other people who you don't know. What are you doing about it? What the fuck are you doing about it? And I know some kids will watch, excuse me, parents, for putting it out there like that. But to be honest, you're doing nothing. So while you're doing nothing, it's time to separate. You sit over there in the corner and just watch the show because it's showtime. We get ready to get it done. And either you with us or you can come on after the fear in you keeps you on the sideline. What we get ready to do?
Right. And to go back, Frederick Ross said, you know, you can't please everyone. That's a true statement. And to Jose Hernandez, I'm going to take his middle name out. He was a level Bravo infantry guy. Let's give him a round of applause. Big up for your service.
Indeed. Thank you.
So, if you can. There you go. All right. Yeah, those 1-1 boys were for real.
Right.
I know when it was like, and he knows what I mean by this bolt forward. It was no joke coming off the back that 130. So, but no, it's, you know, it's just given this climate and given this environment, we live in historic times. Like 30, 40 years from now, I probably won't be here, so I'll be eating applesauce because I'll be like 90. But when they start to really write the pages on history about this time frame, I know it's going to be fascinating. Just the lectures in the universities as they look back, like the history and the law professors, as they revisit this. We're living it now, but the books have yet to be written. And 30 or 40 years from now, when the scholars look back and they really speak about this time, it's going to be fascinating.
Right.
Fascinating. I would like to see both sides, Republican, Democrat, and even the independent view, the moderate to the extreme. You know, the different universities from a Harvard to a Yale, even down to the HBCUs as they talk about it.
Right.
And there, you cannot dismiss it. It affects us all. So I hope I am still here, sound mind and body, because I'll say I remember living through history.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, those are elders who are still here. When you talk about the Tuskegee Airmen, right? You think about the Civil Rights Movement. They lived through those moments, and the pages are now written accurately.
Right.
The Just Do It took forever for the Tuskegee Airmen to get recognized for
Yes.
what they did,
Yes.
right? But when they were going through that moment, at the time, it was quiet. History wrote those pages. When you think about Benjamin O. Davis Jr., Colonel Charles Young, no one spoke to him
Right.
at West Point. Imagine going through
Right.
4 years
And not talking to
right.
anybody until what, Henry Flipper got there?
But folks who don't look like him is my point.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
He's still commissioned. My point is, take that and set that aside, the historical context of what's going on right now. How the House sent forward with the articles, how the Senate is saying, hey, let me work in conjunction with the White House, how it all unfolds. Like, this is going to rewrite the pages of history and how things are approached. The Founding Fathers said it's set in stone how it should be, and Congress should be that voice initially as it goes forward. The articles are the indictment. And you're supposed to be fair and impartial in the Senate as you move forward with this. But that's clearly not happening. And there are arguments inside of the House. So again, years from now, the scholars, when they look at this, how will it be viewed? How? That's my question.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I can't even explain that one right there. We just gonna have to. We have to make sure things are documented don't make the same mistake that was made where history was orally told and never transcribed.
Right.
So you can have the other side of the story and it's not just one-sided. We have to have that. And also when you're talking about voting, people focus on the presidential election, but then
It's the local.
they don't vote on the local, they don't vote the congressional, and like I said, you want to see power, it's 435 people that decide the fate
right.
of the rest of us real quick. Yeah, everybody's focused on the president, but what the hell is Congress doing? They're back there
right.
doing what they want to do, and it's a good deflective move, because if I can get you to pay attention to this guy right here, and he says all of the stuff like he's the drunk dude on the side of the wall, and you take it and you run with it and you keep him in the news every day. Meanwhile, laws are being passed and you can't find it anywhere except the small section of the USA Today. So then what?
Right.
So we have to pay attention to everything. For some people, you can't walk and chew gum, but damn it, you better learn how to multitask, because if you don't, everything's going to pass you, and we can leave you in 2019 too.
Right. Yeah. Listen, and let's look back on 2019 a little bit. Let's talk about, the year. One person that I'm kind of I'm glad that he's getting some just due. And I'll switch it to sports just a little bit. And no, I'm not talking about the Cowboys in any way. No. Just to be clear, I know you get excited over there. But Michael Vick. Michael Vick. It's good to see Michael Vick back in the mainstream.
He's going to be a Pro Bowl captain for all you dog lovers.
Right. No. I know. But it's good to see.
Shout out to the 757. Yeah.
Right. Because if he did his time and he's paid his debt to society, as they say.
It's done.
It's done. It's good to see him. I've watched many other celebrities come back and be celebrated. Oh, you're clean, you're sober, pats on the back, you name it. It was good to see Mike Vick make a comeback as he has, and he's very humble. When you really look at him on TV, you could tell he's, not that he was immature, but that the moment has really weighed on him, and he understands exactly where he's at this time. Also, because we won't have a show until 2020, saying goodbye to Witherspoon.
John Witherspoon.
Yeah, he was. Listen, and I could watch Boomerang 100 times over, and I'll say it 100 times over. Like, really, everybody made that movie, but that was his. Even though he had roles way before that. But that was, to me, his defining moment.
He stole the show.
He stole the show. Yeah. And everybody knows after that, and I'll say the line in a minute, everybody wanted to coordinate. Right? See that? Everyone wanted to coordinate.
Every time I'm in the kitchen.
All that was on the fly. He gave an interview.
Really?
He talked about all. They didn't even want him in the movie. Eddie demanded that he be in the movie. They flew him in. And within a few minutes, they ad-libbed that. And it was Martin. He said originally it was the dialogue about the coordinate was him and Martin, but it was so funny. Eddie was like, no, I want to be in this part. Yeah,
I gotta get it.
It's on Vlad. It's on Vlad TV.
Right.
Yeah.
And listen, another, if we can, I don't want to say the reemergence because he's always been a constant in Hollywood, but for Eddie Murphy. I think he's finally, 30 years later, is just getting his no kidding iconic just due.
If you haven't watched Dolomite Is My Name, make sure you watch that. But I would also say watch the 1975 original Dolomite.
I remember that. I went
with
to
Rudy Ray Moore so that you can understand the Netflix show.
Human Tornado.
No, you know I saw the Dolomite movie? Strand.
Oh yeah,
I saw this strand. I remember. Like the whole hot water thing. I was like Dolomite. I was like, who the hell is this? I was a kid, but going back to Eddie for Saturday Night Live to celebrate him, I saw CNN actually mentioned it quite a bit, and Eddie did his thing, man. Hollywood is a tough nut to crack, and Eddie has had to fight his way all the way, every time. Now, he was rock star status when he came out in that red. What was that? That red
Raw.
That thing there. I never understood Eddie. And he was
red
like,
leather?
I was like, all right, Eddie, I got you on that one. but it was funny as hell. It was funny as hell. And then he really did his thing on Saturday Night Live. And for Saturday Night Live to say, hey, Eddie, it's all about you tonight. When you think about who has come after him, it really says, hey,
It's
Eddie.
a distant second.
Right. Right.
Well, also, and it's the story's been out there. Saturday Night Live came very close to closing, to disbanding the show, and Eddie came out of nowhere and saved that
the show, right.
And he put that show on his back for 4
Right.
years that he was on there, and the ratings went up. And once again, the ratings, they said in years, has spiked to see and watch Eddie Murphy, and he got great reviews, and
Right.
and for him to be gone for 35 years and bring those characters back, and that be able to still
It's still rocking.
Right.
Right.
and the Mr. Robinson, it was funny, but it was also deep because it was focusing on gentrification.
Right.
And I mean, the skits were hilarious.
Pay attention to
man.
the song he sang right there at the beginning,
He
right?
said all the black people go back to where they come from, Atlanta.
Listen.
So yeah, it was he did good, man. He did his thing. I was happy to see him.
And we have another one. Good point. LeBron James. So, what he's done in what's the name of his school?
I don't know the name of the school. I know it's in Akron, Ohio. It's
Right.
hometown. Though.
What he's done there. I love his commercial. Like I want to move away from the athletic piece of LeBron James and talk more about the philanthropist, if you will, the giving back.
He got a lot of flack on ESPN under what's the guy's name? What's the big heavy set black guy? I forget his name.
Jason Whitaker.
Yeah, him and his crew. They kind of trashed LeBron's commercial. I didn't see the commercial yet, but they said something about.
The humble beginnings.
Yeah, I wasn't really.
Yeah.
I got to see it to speak on it, but all I know is they didn't like the commercial. They were
Right.
criticizing.
You know
him.
what? It's always going to be someone to criticize something. I don't think LeBron gives a damn about what that chunky motherfucker is talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be honest, he complains about a lot.
He
His
does.
points are worth less. So, if the only thing you have to do is to talk bad about a man when he's doing a whole lot
I mean,
of good.
what was the commercial?
That kind of
about?
shows the
No, it just said that he came
Softness
from
in you,
very humble beginnings, even though the Clippers did clap him last night. They weren't ready for the Clippers. I think it's safe to say. Kawhi Leonard gave him the business. But it talks about him coming from humble beginnings and how he wanted to put something in place so that we don't always have to say that we come from humble beginnings. And I agree with him on that.
Okay.
It seems like anytime success is attached to our environment, let me not say every
problem.
time, right? Let me not say every time, a percentage, right? A high percentage, all right? So I'm not saying every time. 999, take it on out, right? But it's always, they come from humble beginnings. And he's simply saying, I'd like to, with his paintbrush, his stroke across the canvas as he paints his picture, as he sees it, he's saying, I want to put young minds in place now. So when they become successes 20 years from now, they don't have to say I come from very humble beginnings. Like I appreciate that. When I go out and I public speak, that is my story. Like I know where I come from. I know where I went through. I didn't ask for that, but he didn't ask for that.
right.
But that's his story. But the thing is to be an instrument of change. So I always tell folks in my circle that look like me, you can be anything that you want to be, right? Don't use the humble beginnings all the time as a crutch. Like use it as fuel. Like you can't stop me. Like at some point, we've talked about it on the show, at some point you have to break away from what you know. If you think that your surroundings and your mind is going in a given way, you have to escape. You don't have to physically move. You just have to say, this is the road that I'm on.
It's choices, man.
Choices,
Right.
and this is where I'm going. And so from that point on, listen, call me lame, call me corny. I don't give a shit what you call me, but this is the track that I'm on, and that's what LeBron James was saying. Hey, let's put him on the right track. And whenever I public speak, I say this: what somebody else thinks about you is none of your business.
Exactly.
You can only worry about what you worry about.
People gonna talk about you anyway.
Regardless.
Right. What do you think about
Yeah.
you?
Your man when you was like 14 and 15 or 14 through 18 ain't gonna be your man when you older. God forbid you doing better.
And you know what? In terms, and when I say, I don't mean to sound so cavalier about making the right choices, because people say that a lot. But sometimes when certain circumstances are created, it's easy to put some messed up alternatives and then give them the illusion of choice. And I think that's where people like ourselves, we're middle-aged men now, and we're in a position to be examples to young people, to point them in the righteous way of choices. Now, whether or not they choose it, that's one thing. Because, and you can speak to this, and this is why I bring all this up, because let's face it, man, we didn't have a whole lot of options in terms of men.
Right. No.
We didn't. And I'm not saying
who we looked up to. You know who we looked up to.
And so it's like, it's easy to say, well, you got to make the right choices, but sometimes everybody's mind, all of us are not matured on the same levels.
Right.
And based on circumstances of your background and where you come from, it's easy for people to make bad choices and justify it, or in their minds they think it's right. We know people who come from generations of drug dealers, and they think they grew up in that. Right. That's just what they know. Right. And it's almost like you can't really, but for someone to say, you know what, I'm going to break this cycle and I'm not going to do this, that's commendable. Right. But at the same time, you can't use that as a broad paintbrush and say, well, he did it and all of you should think the same. Everybody's not built and hardwired the same way. But now, and I always say this, me, Mr. Pro-Black himself, all roads lead to black men. Anything that's wrong in the neighborhood, in the community, with our sisters raising up men who some argue that they're effeminate, they're not real men, But the thing is, well, brother, where are you? Right. Why is this?
Why is your son
quote unquote? We like to call them thoughts and this and that. But I'm telling you, if black men were in their place, a lot of this stuff that we have challenges with, from politics on or everything we talked about, if we were in our place, things can change. And that's why I say, those of us who are here, it's our duty to provide sound, solid options so that they can have a choice. But if we just giving them shit to choose from,
then that's what they're gonna
go. And you can't really fault the babies for that. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how I got off on that tangent. But anyway.
No. But listen, no. Basically, at the end of the day, you're simply saying, hey, be the example out there and pay it forward. Whether you and I have sat in many, many auditoriums, man, and fed many, many homeless. So it goes without saying. I always tell people, especially at my age now, I don't give a shit what you think about me. Dude, you talking about something from like 84? Dude, life has passed you by. Goodbye. Whatever. Like, keep it moving, dude. I'll never see you again. It's too soon. Later. Oh, man. So, but listen, it's that time of the show.
Is it?
Yeah, but listen, we forgot to really, really shout out Miss E. Can we give it a round of applause?
Hey, shout out to Joe. Joe had a birthday.
That's
shout
right.
out to our sister Joe.
Big up to Joe.
Happy belated birthday.
I think the birthday was on sweet baby Jesus's birthday, I think.
Unless
allegedly.
All right.
Allegedly his birthday.
And Dr. Trap, let's give Lady T.
Lady T.
Hey, Lady T. Yeah.
Round of applause.
Yeah.
But listen, going into 2020, I'm not a resolution type person. I'm just like
new year, new me.
And listen, that's I can't wait to see
New Year, same me.
Listen, I've been dealing with you for 20 years. This year is the check. Sit your ass down.
Sit down somewhere.
Right. It's over. If it takes, I always say this. If it takes a day on a calendar, hold on, I gotta collect myself.
Yeah.
All right. If it takes a date on a calendar and you're 50 plus to say, I'm going to make a life change right now, something is wrong.
Yeah.
Something is seriously wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let me wake up New Year's Day. Okay, I'm done with all of that. Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
What you do for the last 50 years?
Right.
Like, I don't know. So I don't make a resolution, but I do wish everyone a happy and prosperous New Year, and I hope you get everything that God has seen fit to bestow upon you. I don't wish ill will on anybody here. I don't do the whole hate thing with that, man. And the one thing I've adopted as I've gotten older that I will move into 2020, and I do this more and more, surround my people who want to be around me. You know what I mean? People of positive influence in my circle, right? You shouldn't have to fight for friendship. You shouldn't have to fight for family.
That's right.
Be around people who want to be around you, right?
That's right.
You know, what you think about me is none of my business at all.
That's right.
So I'm going to be around friends and family. I'm going to build in 2020, hopefully, and hopefully I'll make it to 2021. I always told folks making it to 50 was like a bonus to me. So every day above ground now is just like, hey, you know, thank you, God, for that. I never expected to live to see this age. So many blessings to everybody. So wonder what you got. Well, actually, next show.
Oh, you know what? The next show is going to rock out January 9th, 7 p.m. right here at WBKS1.com or YouTube or Facebook Live. So catch us there. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
I'm hoping, you know what? This is what I'm hoping. That I have a black brilliant shirt in 2020.
Yeah, I need one of those shirts, man.
Hey, Charles Coleman, if you're watching
dope
now,
shirt.
some orders about to come your way, my man.
I don't ask for a lot. That's all you got?
No, you know what? Oh, you asking me to close my part out? All
Yeah.
right, well, you know what? Hey, in 2020, y'all make sure that you stop giving plates of your soul to people who only ask for a to-go box. And also, when you walk outside your front door, it's showtime and the world is your stage. Just make sure that people are not watching the rehearsal. With that being said, it's the Six-Man Dean Geronimo. I'm closing out 2019. Have a happy new year and a great 2020.
All right.
Bro. All right.
Listen.
What you got, Wonder?
I want all black people. I want us all to win for 2020. I want everybody. I pray for more unity, more
Zero
cohesiveness,
argument. Yep.
more community. We can win. We have the resources among ourselves to be successful. I just want to see us win. That's it.
Gotcha.
All right. See you on the other side.
Right. And if Miss E was here, she would say, we love everybody. So I get it for you, Miss E. Anything, super producer, you wanted to add closing this year out? Listen, she does a phenomenal job dealing with all of us behind the scenes.
Indeed.
When we can make it, not make it to the show, she's the glue, she's the catalyst that keeps it all together. So let's give the super producer a round of applause. What's this, like year 4, year 5? Where we at? Year
You're
4?
going into year 5.
Yeah. Also,
Going
shout
down.
out to Melbourne, Melissa Melbourne. Who
Oh,
fills
yeah,
in.
yeah.
Shout out
Pick
to
up
Melbourne if
Miss
you out
Melissa.
there.
Miss Melissa, what's up? She always looks like super like model, like glamorous on face. I'll be like,
Cleans up. She
right,
cleans up nice.
right. I'll
man.
be like, I hope she remember. Like, hey, Melissa. She'd be like,
Cleans up nice.
hello.
Who are you?
Yes, hello, Sean. Right?
All right, Sean.
No, she
Yeah.
has a beautiful soul though. She really does.
Yeah.
So, hey, big up to the super producer. One more time. Hey, big up to the CEO, Storm Norm.
General.
I'm about to say, you better give him a round of applause when you get fired. I'm like, yo, what happened to super producer? And they be
you
like,
get
she got
fired on your day off?
Day off, yo. All right, so my closing thoughts here for 2019. For me, it's been a great year. I found my peace in 2019. I was able to smile again in 2019. I've been through a lot. And you never know where, you know, joy and happiness comes from. But when you get it, it's peaceful. As they say, may peace in another language. But I'm appreciative for all I have. Humility will remain, you know, a constant in my person. Community service, I think that I want to drive it that much harder in 2020. And I definitely want to see our communities continue to improve. What do you got, Wonder?
Real quick.
Yep.
After you, I mean, you can have the last word after this. Hey, maybe we can. There's some soup kitchens that I want to link us to.
Sure.
The the masjid on 4th and Grant. because you said you want to intensify the
Yep,
community activity,
yep.
and I really want to. I'm on board with you on that.
Gotcha.
So let's put our heads together. And
Absolutely. Matter of fact, probably I don't know. Right before Thanksgiving, I got to go down to the Trenton area soup kitchen.
Nice.
Down there. Made 500 sandwiches. Was able to go down and do the thing down there. And I had great conversations with people, man. And again, it's what's done behind the scenes. Anytime we roll our sleeves up, I don't do it for any public gratification. I do it because I know what it's like to be hungry. And when you find yourself in a position humbly to give back, listen, just roll your sleeves up. That is very simple to do. Like all that hemming and hawing and Facebook and Instagram and all that.
Put some work behind it.
Put some work behind it.
You too can be a 6 man.
Right.
Put
some work behind it. So on that note, if there's something you want to listen, one more time, big up to Mike when he called in, y'all. He was solid.
Oh, he's always he comes with it, man.
All right.
Yeah,
And Frederick Moss, what was the
Shout
Ricardo?
out to Dr. Diamond,
Yeah,
Richard Oliver, Larry Karan. I got Needle Brown, Peter
Hernandez. That's his name.
Yeah.
A lot of folks. Listen,
All
they tune in from
those.
all over.
From all over.
We're not just a local show, as they say. But listen, if there's something you want to talk about, call in and let's talk about it. It's a wrap. Good night, folks.
Peace.